What up, what up? This is Ray Grand, your host, and you're listening to The Ray Grand Show, where we talk about redefining a disability and overcoming. I've been paralyzed from 22 years from bacterial spinal meningitis. I know a few things. That's right. Thank you for listening, and let's get to it. Good day, people. This is the Ray Grand Show. Your host, Ray Grand. We have a special guest with me, Garrison Redd. Yes, he's an influencer from Brooklyn, New York, a bodybuilder. Yes, a TED Talk speaker, disability advocate, fresh and fly model, my guy Garrison. And yes, you have seen him influencer on commercials as well on national TV. Garrison, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? How you doing?
Good, Ray. How you, bro? How you, man? I'm maintaining out here during this quarantine process and all of that good stuff, but making the best of it.
Yes,
that's what you can do.
His blessing, highly favored. So how is it up there in Brooklyn, New York, man? Like, New York got hit hard.
Yeah, we got hit pretty hard. I mean, it's at the point where, like, everybody knows someone that has been affected by the virus, either by death or been in hospitalization. So it's like, it's really crazy. But, luckily I have all my weights in the house. I never got rid of them. And I just been finding ways to stay occupied. I read it's funny, I read an article how like a lot of these Fortune 500 companies that's still around and still existing for over the last 30 years started at a place where the economy was like either in a recession or some even started during the Depression. Like, I can't think of the name right now, but I believe GM or one of those companies started during the Depression. And it's like, you got to find opportunity.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about that. So let's talk about first the disability on the people who've been impacted from this coronavirus as persons with disability and also the elderly. And let's talk about how you've been staying in shape. I mean, from first when you first got injured, like you've been in shape. And so that's motivation to a lot of persons that have a disability and the importance of staying in shape and eating right. And so what made you get into like working out and staying in shape? Because I remember you telling me before, because you wanted your shirt to fit right. And I'm getting there. I've been working out. I've been getting there. So what made you, stay in shape and get in shape and want to be in shape? And now in this quarantine, still putting in that work of working out, staying dedicated.
Well, to be honest with you, when I initially got injured, I really didn't I played football prior to that. At 17 years old, I was a star football player for my high school team. I played running back and safety. And when I got injured, my dream was crushed because my goal in life was to be an NFL football player, buy my mother a big house, and just pretty much that was my only aspiration. And when that was taken away from me, for the first, I believe, 2 years, I didn't really care to work out or thought about working out or anything like that. I just did enough as far as the rehabilitation process to get strong enough so I could be independent. But I never thought about making it a career or taking it to the next level as far as just staying in shape and being fit. Then a couple of years later, I had an epiphany at work, and I'm like, spinal cord injury community. And one of the things I started doing was I started going back to the gym. And once I started going back to the gym, it was muscle memory as far as just certain workouts that I was doing. Luckily I was strong enough to, transfer myself onto different equipment and different machines. But after that, when I started at the gym, I probably only could lift about 75 pounds. I wouldn't even lie to you. And I only used to stay in the gym for about 15 to 20 minutes, Then I started building up endurance, and then people just was coming up to me I'm such an inspiration to them and their fitness goals. And these are able-bodied individuals. And I do 15 minutes, then a couple of weeks later, I'm there 30 minutes. Then before I knew it, I was in there an hour, almost 6 to 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. And by the grace of God, I met this guy named Jason he was a coach of a wheelchair football team. He's an able-bodied individual. And he just I see how dedicated you are to fitness, to working out. Maybe you should come out and play some wheelchair sports. And at first I wasn't really open to the idea, only due to the fact that I didn't see that as being something I could make a part of my life. I just thought it's like a bunch of guys with not much to do and that's their hobby, just to go out and play wheelchair sports. And me, I'm a competitive athlete at heart. So I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I got to do it at the highest level and be the best person I could be at that particular sport I partake in. So, yeah, I met this guy named John Hammer. I went out to the wheelchair football practice and met a guy named John Hammer, who's the president of the Wheelchair Sports Federation. And he just been a great influence on my life because he kept motivating me and just telling me, like, from day one, like, yo, you could be a Paralympic athlete one day. And I ain't think much of it, but I said, if you could find a sport that I could play or I'll excel in, then, I'll go for it. And he's like, yeah, there's tons of sports out there. There's wheelchair track. There's wheelchair track field, which is like discus, javelin, and shot put. And he connected me with the New Jersey Navigators, which is one of the best junior national teams in the country. And from there, everything took off. I went out there a few times. I was doing track racing. I just loved the atmosphere that I was in because every athlete there wasn't doing it for a hobby. They was doing it either to go in school or actually one of the guys, Franco, he won the 100 meters at Rio, a gold medal. So it was like everybody was doing it at the highest competitive level they could do it at. And it was just the environment I needed to be in. So they started teaching me field sports. I did wheelchair track racing. The funny thing is, I liked wheelchair track, but I didn't like 1,500 meters or more. Like marathon, that just wasn't for me because of the fact that I'm just not willing for that amount of distance for that duration of time. But I was doing pretty well in that. Then my coach said, yo, there's a regional powerlifting meet coming up. I want to enter you in it. How much do you weigh? And the crazy thing about the disabled community that people don't really know is that we always forgotten about in like every sector of our life, as far as like hospitalization, clinics. Like I go to the clinic, they ask me how much do I weigh, they ask me what's my height, when they supposed to have a device or a tool or a way of measuring us and a way of weighing us.
Talk about it.
So when people ask me that, I kind of get offended because I'm coming here for my physical, for y'all to tell me if everything is okay with me, and y'all asking me questions that is very simple for y'all to find out. Just like how y'all could draw blood, y'all should have a mechanism, at least in every clinic, at least one scale for individuals that lack the ability to ambulate, because they always ask me, can I stand? And I'm like, I wouldn't be sitting in a chair if I could stand. I just wouldn't be. So with that said, my coach was like, don't worry about it. He wanted to just get an idea so he could just know like where to go. He's like, yeah, we got a scale. We're going to weigh you. I actually weighed in at 120 pounds and I was able to lift 250 pounds with no training at all. And then 2 days later, Team USA performance manager got in contact with me and said I should start vying for a spot on Team USA Para Powerlifting, because at the time that was pretty much like the strongest mark, and I rose to the top of the rankings instantly. So everybody's like, who is he? And then from there, I flew out to Colorado Springs. I trained at the Olympic training facility for a few days. And out there, I was able to lift 275 pounds after having about a month and a half worth of training. So right now, I'm on Team USA Para Powerlifting. I actually, prior to COVID-19, I was scheduled to go to compete at World Championships in Bogota.
Is that Tokyo 2020?
Well, I was going to a qualifier, my international qualifier, to compete at the Paralympic Games. Yeah. And that was World Championships, which was being held in Bogota, Colombia. And then like a day prior to me leaving, the event got canceled due to COVID-19 and everything. But I'm still training. The arms are still getting pretty big.
I see you.
Yeah. And like I feel like everything's a part of life. So me going to the gym for 15 minutes a day in the beginning translated to me now competing on the highest stage in a strength sport. So it's like, you never know what your calling is, but everybody got to start somewhere. And the key thing is just to get started. And luckily I had that mind frame of not putting it off. I was like, today I'm going to start the gym. I'm going to pay for my membership and I'm going to go for it and make the best out of it.
Yeah, you say luckily, but I don't think it's luck, because a lot of the times it's like you said earlier, you said it's you made up in your mind like you're going to do it, and then you committed to it. You started off small, then you gave a little bit more, then you gave a little bit more, and you realize as you start to study success, and me doing what I do, interviewing people, I find a common trend of like a level of commitment that will get you to a certain place. For us, it looks different. We have to advocate for ourselves in many different ways, just to get the basics, like just the basics.
Yeah, honestly, and people forget that part about it. It's very difficult for individuals that are disabled, and I feel even more so for individuals like us who have spinal cord injuries, or who's uses a wheelchair pretty much on a every day, every second basis. It's a lot more difficult because people already have a perceived notion about us that we are incapable of just doing certain things. And that was one of the main things when I had the epiphany, I thought about everybody else that was coming after me, all the kids, and they don't have a Wayne Gretzky or Michael Jordan to look up to in a disabled community, because people who honestly view being disabled, the stigma is we're not cool. We're not, someone in society that you could aspire to be. And it takes a person like what you're doing or like what I'm doing to change that whole misconception, and that people could aspire to be like us. I'm not saying necessarily having, to be injured and use a wheelchair, but just the hard work and the dedication that we have to fight with each and every day. I always say, like, it's worse than racism being disabled because of the discrimination that we encounter, and people don't think nothing of it. Like, it's not nothing. Like, if you park in a handicapped spot, it's nothing. Like, they don't feel any kind of way. It's no emotional attachment.
It's crazy that you say that. And I'm happy that you said that, because somebody who looks up to myself or you, it's like the person. I have 2 children now, so sometimes I tell them, it's like, sometimes when you have more, you do less. And so now we're at a position we have less, we do more, because we have to dig deep what's inside, and brings the best out of us in a way that probably wouldn't have been the best. I can speak for myself, probably wouldn't have been, I would have been the best person I would have been if it wasn't because of my disability. I could just be honest, be me being honest. I think I would have been a great athlete. I think I still would have been a great person for the most part. But I think the disability stretched me to a point where I had to make a decision whether I was going to be good, great, or grand. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to be grand. And I realized, wow, grand is not as easy as it sounds. Even though it's my last name, is not as easy. It's like, yo, you got to put in that consistent work. And like I said, I think your success hasn't been luck. I think you put in the work, you dedicated yourself, you committed yourself, and you continue to stay on the path.
Yeah, I don't think it was luck either. It was probably the wrong choice of words. The only luck part about it, I think, might have been my timing. I chose the right timing, and you know what it was like. If I would have been I've been injured since 2005, and if I would have been doing what I'm doing now, I think back in like 2007 or 2008, while I was still in school and things of that nature, I don't think I would be as big of an influence to the current community as I am now, because what I have now is that I've did college, I would say, in a wheelchair, graduated with my bachelor's in finance. I was in the workforce. I was employed for the Department of Treasury for 6 years. So I had an opportunity to see everything as far as all the discrimination. I didn't miss a step. Like, I always listen to Floyd Mayweather, and for better or for worse, people have their opinion about him. But he said one thing. He said, like, his success didn't come overnight. He never missed a step. Each step he took, from coming from Michigan, Grand Rapids, he made sure and took every step, every competition, all of that. He didn't just jump in to be a professional right away. He competed on different stages in order to get the knowledge and get the education that he needed in order to be a successful boxer. And I feel it was the same way with me. I needed to go through each and every stage in order to be able to really connect with people, as far as like just telling them just different things, like different stories, because of the fact that I didn't have social media really when I was first injured. So it was nobody for me to look at. Podcasts wasn't really around in that era. So it was like everything I had to do was either join a community social group for individuals with disabilities or figure it out on my own. And I wasn't a fan of the community social groups for individuals with disabilities. I'm still really not, only because in the world, you need inclusion. So if Rosa Parks, and this is how my thinking is, Rosa Parks would have never sat on the front of that bus, we would never knew who Rosa Parks was. So if I don't go out to bars, if I don't go out to social arenas, you'll never know who Garrison Redd was or is, because you never seen him before. He never made a statement for himself and for other people. So if I go to a club and they deny me access, I'm taking it to the next level because it's a civil rights issue. You cannot deny me access. It's not my fault you built your facility with stairs. No one told you to do that. You could have a lift. You could have found ways to accommodate everyone. And a lot of times people just, no one wants to take the stand because you don't know where it's going to go. It's fear. Everybody has fear. And then one day I just woke up and became comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I said, I could give, excuse my language, about fear. And once I thought in that mindset, my life changed because I didn't care. I started traveling by myself because at the end of the day, if someone wants to ask me a question about how to travel, how to get in, how you maneuver through an airport and things of that nature, I could give them that feedback. And it just creates independence. People want to know that they can be independent. And that's one of the things about those social groups. Like at my time, it would be a lot of individuals with disabilities, but nobody was doing anything that I would say would be like cool. Like if you drive, you're going to just, you're just going to drive to work or to your school, whatever. And we all got different levels of disability. And that's a difference because people don't understand being a quad and being a para. We have different functions. But I just thought like, I'm 17 years old. I'm like, I want to date a hot girl. Like, I want to have fun in school. Like, I have my whole life ahead of me. And you're telling me that I have to be amongst one set of people.
It's almost like putting yourself, or not you putting yourself, or the society trying to put you in a
bubble.
Okay, you're brown in a bubble. You're brown. Okay, you stay with all the brown. You're in a wheelchair. You stay with all the wheelchair. And it's like, how am I supposed to be who I'm supposed to be if you put me in a box or a bubble? I want to live the life that I envision for myself, and I'm not going to allow someone to put me in a bubble. And I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to live my life. Whether you see me in a wheelchair, I'm not necessarily in a wheelchair because I'm going to accommodate your misaccommodations. Even though you're not accommodating, I'm going to still keep going forward. I'm going to allow someone to stop what I'm doing. And the perfect example is when you decided to lift weights. The doctor didn't have a weighing machine, and that just makes me think about that. That gives me an idea. I got to write that down. So yeah, you still, with guys like, no, I'll take care of you. And he weighed you, and then boom, you went in and you kept it moving, and you knew your weight, and then now you got a resource, and then you continue to build resources around whatever you want to do versus waiting on someone to do it. You're like, I'm gonna create what I need to create, and then make noise doing noise, like you said, take it to another level and make some noise. Because it is an injustice. If Rosa Parks just did what she did somewhere else and she was tired, she's like, no, I'm not getting up, and boom, it created noise and created hysteria, and that's what's supposed to happen.
Not getting up, that's it.
Injustice happens. It's injustice. It's not
exactly.
So I agree with that. And I agree with going through the process. Like Mayweather's whatever someone feels about him personally, but you cannot even deny the fact the boxing business is business. So of course, for me personally, I understand marketing. Yeah, he throws the money around. That's a marketing ploy. But then
exactly,
you can't beat him. Like
exactly, he's undefeated. Yeah,
he puts in the work. He puts in the work. He shows you, like, look, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You still can't beat me.
Exactly. And that's the mindset we have to have. And us individuals that are disabled, a lot of us do have that mindset and that mentality of, we can't be beaten. And and it's something like it grows. I mean, when you initially injured, a lot of people think the worst, you know, they don't know what they could amount to. And that's one thing I try to tell them, like, yo, if you want to drive a Corvette, you could drive that Corvette. Like, don't let nobody tell you no. You find out for yourself if you can or cannot do something. And I was tired of like hearing people telling me, no, you can't. Even when I would go to school, I was registering. It's so funny because I would register for 4 classes because my advisor, my disabilities advisor, told me that's what you have to register to be a full-time student. And then one day I went online, I said, wait, I could select 6 to 8 classes? I'm gonna select 6 to 8 classes. I have nothing to do all day. I could take 6 to 8 classes and I could get out of school earlier. Like, I don't want to be here or for the whole 4 years. I want to do this in 3 years. I have nothing else to do. So when I started doing that, then I realized, and I started excelling. My grades was great and everything. And I graduated in 3 years when I took a year off from school where all my friends went right after high school. I took a year off after high school because I was in rehabilitation for my injury. And the funny thing was I caught them and everybody's like, how you graduate so fast? Because I stopped listening to people. I stopped having people who have control over my life and I took control of them. I said, you know what, this is what I want to do and I'm going to take control. And that was one of like the first stepping stones for me where I realized that in life, especially if you have it, if you are oppressed, a part of an oppressed community or whatever the case may be, I think everybody should take control of their own life. A lot of times we listen to what other people say, and usually people that say these things has never been through what we've been through or never done what we've done or don't have the capabilities of doing it. So it's like, I know if I put in 100% effort and I stay passionate and dedicated about whatever I'm doing, everything's going to come true for me. It just takes patience and I got to learn it. Each and every day I wake up and I try to learn something.
Absolutely. Now you control the controllables, control what you can control.
Exactly.
One thing I remember, you know, when I saw your video and I remember seeing him like, damn, this dude, I think he was on a bar or something in the streets and he was like on a bar doing pull-ups. This is almost like
probably like 2-3 years now.
7 years? No, maybe 6 years, man. This is when it went viral. The video went viral. We're in 2020.
Yeah.
Back in 2000. Maybe it was 3 years. Maybe it was 2017 or 16. I can't remember, but I remember it may have been longer than that. But maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, dang. And I was known for doing pull-ups, and I'm like, dang, this dude got me beat. Like, and he had muscles too, you know, because I've been slim, but I've always been strong.
Yeah, strong.
And, but it motivated me. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right. And it inspired me to do more. And even now when I post up a video real quick of me doing pull-ups, like I'm kind of shocked and flabbergasted sometimes on how that when people see us doing what we do, it's like, yo, this is normal. Like I didn't even like, you haven't seen me at the 100,000 push. I'm a basketball player. So for weights and pull-ups and stuff, I play ball. So I'm like pulling some weights, y'all inspired and with this, which is great. But when someone tries to control whatever what we do, it's like, yo, you only seen a snapshot of our life.
That's just a little bit. Like
that's just a little snapshot. And it's like, wow, imagine the grandiose ability when that light is and that light does hit us and the world gets to see, you know, what we do. And for me, it was the world. So I remember the video was like 1 million, and you kept going. You still going. I didn't stop. I can't stop it. Something. And I'm sure. Yeah, I remember we was talking about other opportunities came from that. You was in a McDonald's commercial.
Yeah.
Apple,
Google. I did the Google Nest campaign where that was in movies across the country. It just been tons of opportunities, but you know what it really is, it was really my mindset of just helping the community. Like I always tell people I'm not the best at anything I do, but I want to inspire someone else to be better at me than whatever I'm doing. So if I'm doing a dance or I'm, you know, whatever the case might be, I know there's a better dancer out there than me, but they don't know it. So if I could show that I could do it, then I know they can do it. And that can be their aspiration. And I think that was very important when I started, going off, because I was working. And it's hard to like go from working full time every day to being an entrepreneur, so starting your own not-for-profit. Like, there's days where I don't know, like, where's my next dollar gonna come from? But that's all a part of life. You just keep working towards your end goal, because I know at the end of the day, like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? I already experienced the worst in my life. So like, everything is up. So even if I take a step back, which I don't even consider anything as taking a step back, as long as you learn from whatever experience that, might not have worked out in your favor, then at the end of the day, you won. So you got to make mistakes. You got to take steps, I quote unquote back, but it's never really back. You're just learning from an experience.
Exactly. And even if they call it a step back, you're taking a step back to take
10 steps forward.
10 steps forward.
Yeah.
It's almost like looking at it like from perspective, the past, the present, the futures are continuing. So when you look at your past, you look at it from a place like, oh, what can I learn from it to help me in my present? And then see yourself in the future to be like, I'm gonna be here in 5-10 years. Why? Because like you said, to help, not only help myself first, and then also help other people that's coming after me.
Yeah.
So the nonprofit, like, I know you inspired you like to help other persons with disability that have disabilities. However, how was that process starting like a nonprofit, and then how did you go about it? Like, so like,
yeah,
like, how'd you go about like starting a nonprofit? Because like you're doing so much. It's like, so for someone, like, take a step back for someone who has a disability that just like kind of brand new, they're like, oh my goodness, man, Garrison Redd, like nonprofits, influencer, fashion, my man's on YouTube, going to Olympics. Like, take a step back and like walk that person through that process of starting your nonprofit. So hopefully, like, one day they can start a nonprofit as well.
Well, I'm gonna keep it real 100. Like, we don't know the value of time. And time is very important. And we have 24 hours in a day. And typically you only need about 8 hours of sleep, give or take. But right there, you got 16 hours to do just about anything you want to do. So I organize my day where I'm working on different things for an hour. So I may work out for an hour. Then I may do research for my non-for-profit for an hour. It's not going to happen overnight. Nothing like Rome wasn't built in a day. So I had that mindset going into it. Like, I just got to do a little bit each and every day. And it's 7 days a week, and that's 7 hours. If I focus on 1 hour on my entrepreneurial ideas, or, starting a business or starting a non-for-profit, that's 7 hours a week right there. You do your research. You could break it out. You do your research one day. The next day, after you do your research, you take that research that you learn, and then you apply it to starting it. So like me, in my case, I did research. I actually worked at the IRS, so I had a little bit of that understanding on how to go about it, but still it wasn't enough. So I did research. I realized you had to complete like a 2273 form, 1123 form, and things of that nature. So then I looked up the 1123 form. Once I got the form, I did what I could. So like, you work on it page by page. First thing it might say, who's the I don't remember now, but like, who's the founder's name or whatever. You put the founder's name, what you can, and then from there, what you can't do, you don't get discouraged on things that you can't do. You just go back and do research to find the answers to what you need the answer for. And that was pretty much the way I went about it. Like, and that's honestly step by step. So I just kept redoing the cycle. I'll do research one day, fill out what I can. Do research the next day, fill out what I can. I just kept going. I think a lot of things that get discouraging is, the literature might be a bit difficult and things of that nature. And mind you, I didn't have much money. I just started it on my own. And, whatever I had saved up, or whatever money I did get, I would just put it towards it. Because you got to invest in yourself. That's a major key, investing in yourself. And then, so each and every day I just invested time. And before you knew it, it took me about 6 months. But before you knew it, the form was complete. And once the form was complete, one of my friends, suggested me to a lawyer to look it over. And I went about it that process. Then I incorporated within New York State. First, you got to get an EIN, then you incorporate within your state, and then you submit the form off to the Internal Revenue Service. So, I mean, it sounds simple the way I just broke it down, but you got to keep it that simple. You just got to keep it that simple. Don't try to complicate things. A lot of time you're going to get overwhelmed if you try to do everything in a day, or you set a time limit. I want this done by the end of the month. It's not going to happen. You got to get board members, things of that nature. And then you got to share your idea with other people to see if it's a good idea. Because they're going to want a mission statement. They're going to want a vision statement. So you got to, it just takes brainstorming, and then you got to bounce off to other individuals. And then there's tons of free courses out there as well, or free meetup groups and things of that nature of people that's just enlightened and just want to learn and grow. And you never know what walk of life they're from. So once I took path and started going down this route, I was like meeting individuals who had strangers who had an influence on me more than my friends for 10 years. And they're like, oh, I like what you're doing. Maybe you should do this a little better. Or maybe I got a friend that he formed his nonprofit, and I'm going to connect you with him so you could just ask him a question and things like that. And you would be amazed how much people out there that's really willing to share information sincerely. Like, they're not looking for any type of monetary gain. It just takes you being comfortable with telling people, what are you trying to do? And I think a lot of times, and people are reluctant to share their ideas because not everybody's going to steal it. You know how I think about it? Like, if someone's going to steal your idea, how are they going to do it better than you? Why would they steal your idea and they don't have your vision? So if Joe Smo starts a non-for-profit for individuals with disabilities and he's an able-bodied individual, he's not going to have the same experience that I have. So they're not going to go to him. People are not going to believe in what he's doing. So you just have to be comfortable with sharing your idea with people. And it's their karma. If they do, it's their karma, not yours.
And I look at it like this. I went to school for entrepreneurship at Oklahoma State University, and we would laugh at ideas. Everybody's like, oh, I got this idea. We would laugh at it. It's like, yeah, so everybody has an idea. Until you put the work behind it, it's just an idea. Everybody has an idea. It's just a slice of piece of bread. Everybody has it in the refrigerator. Until you put the work behind it and put the dedication and nurture that baby and grow it up and put that tears and blood and sweat, it's just an idea.
It's an idea. And
everybody does have the idea. So if I come up with an idea, there's a million people that came up with that idea. However, who's going to put that idea to work?
And who's going to invent?
The first person who started a podcast. I'm not the first person who started a wheelchair. So the first person who started a desk. How many are there? How many TV shows are there? How many houses are there? There's thousands of different type of houses, thousands of different chairs. There's tons of different wheelchairs. So there's tons of different phones. So the idea is nobody can do it the way you do it, the way I do it. So
exactly.
The idea, people say, oh, the idea, oh, I got this idea. Da, 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 da. Listen, until the idea is put to work, it's just
it's just an idea, just words. You're just talking about stuff. It's gibberish. And that's what kills me all the time, because a lot of people have incredible ideas. Like, even if like I always tell people, even if your idea to you, if to others it may sound dumb, but if you're passionate about your idea, you gotta go for it. You gotta put 100% effort, because I'm sure Jeff Bezos, when he was in his garage thinking of Amazon, people told him he was crazy, and now he's the richest man in America. Like, it started with an idea, and he put in the work each and every day, and it might not happen tomorrow. Like with my nonprofit, it hasn't taken off the way I wanted it to as of yet, only because there's been so much going on in the world, and I'm also trying to build myself up so that way when people say the Garrison Redd Project, they know who's attached to it and what I'm about. But it's gonna take off. Like, it's there already. I formed it. It's a 501c3. The paperwork is there. That's the hard part. That's done. Now I got my whole life to make this one of the biggest charities in the world. Because I'm sure Red Cross, I'm sure United Way all had similar experiences. They had challenges in the beginning of receiving funding, and then one day it became second nature. You become good at stuff when you practice it.
Nah, I love it. I love the attitude, man. Every time we link up, it's
Yeah,
attitude. You're consistent. I see you on social media, still doing the weights,
yeah.
everything that you're doing, man. I'm happy for you. I'm proud
Thanks,
of you. Man.
bro. Thanks,
You
bro.
motivate me, bro. Because I was like, man, this dude. I remember it was like, I think it was more than 3 years ago, like 5 years ago.
Probably was, yeah.
Minute ago, I'm like, this dude's doing, and then I started to see this like different videos of you just going out and just doing your pull-ups, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, and then of course my cousin's saying, hey Ray, man, I know you're doing the pull-ups. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not no bodybuilder, man. That dude is jacked, But then you
And
still
like I said,
motivated you, though.
it
Huh?
started with me going to the gym 15 minutes, and then I just built up my endurance, and then I said, I could do this, I could do that. I would do the pull-ups without the chair. Now I said I'm gonna do the pull-ups with the chair because it was getting too easy. And that's another thing with me that's I think separate me from other people, even able-bodied individual, like in general, is that I don't like being complacent. So like once something gets easy for me, I have to find a way to make it difficult. I have to find a way to keep getting stronger. I just take that approach with everything in life where once it's too easy, I need to challenge myself. I shouldn't be doing it anymore if it's too easy. I got to do something else just because you got to keep going.
Raising the bar.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's almost like I said, Mayweather, like you said, is a perfect
yeah,
example. I remember an interview he was just talking about. He's like, "There's no one that could beat me because I figured out I have 10 different strategies for my."
exactly. I heard that.
So it's almost like he's constantly going back. It's like when you set a vision, you go to end result, and then he works his way backwards. But then he also works his way forward. Like so, he's almost like he mastered the craft of adjustments. He knows how to
Adjustment,
adjust.
yeah, and overcoming adversity. Because
Yeah,
like if you have one way of winning, somebody's gonna get your number one day.
yeah.
So you gotta have multiple ways that you can win. And I heard that same interview, and that stuff like that really like enlightens me more than anything else when I hear stuff like that from athletes on how they mastered their craft. Like even Kobe Bryant had one, rest in peace, where he said something to the effect of he was a rookie and he was in a playoff series and he missed. He shot 5 airball 3-pointers and he realized that he has to improve his strength. He has to get better. It's just those little things, those little, changes that you have to make, and you got to have that approach. You got to have that mentality, and all the greats have that mentality. Like I'm willing to have 8 million different ways of beating one person, no matter what.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I love it. On a personal note,
Yeah.
I need some fitness advice. So how do you? For me, this is personal. How do you put on weight, and how do you get your energy up? So for me, I'm not a huge eater, but however, I have great endurance.
Okay.
I'm not a huge eater, so like, how do I put on weight? I've been doing my protein shakes every time. I work about 3 times out the week,
Okay.
and I've been pushing up. So now I've been pushing up and down the street, like jogging.
Good.
But like, how do you put on weight? Like, how do you put on that
I had
weight?
that problem also, bro. But the best thing you gotta eat and red meat. If you eat red meat is the best thing to put it on weight, put it on muscle mass.
Muscle mass.
Rather. Because red meat got other nutrients. It got B vitamins, which helps with energy, and it got iron in it, and it just got a lot of micronutrients that the muscle growth. So red meat is always good. Carbs like rice, white rice is a great carb. Also another good thing would be potatoes if you don't want to eat rice on a consistent basis. Yeah. And just try to eat like 5 or 6 more meals. I mean, I'm not a big eater either. It's funny, but so I try to like space my meals out. I try to have like munch on different types of protein throughout the day, and then at least once a day if I can. I
So
try to have.
what are the proteins you munch on throughout the day?
Oh, I'll like turkey, cold cuts such as turkey. I'll do tuna fish sandwiches here and there, like 3 times out the week. Even like canned salmon, that's fine to just like eat with your eggs. Eggs is very good. It's very good. I know you gotta watch the cholesterol, but in eggs. But I'll eat eggs. I'll get the egg beaters where they take the cholesterol out of the eggs or whatever. It's a liquid form. And yeah, I'll eat but the amino acids that's in eggs is really helpful towards muscle growth. So, yeah, so eggs, cold cut turkey. Every now and then I'll eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's always good. Honey is also good for energy. So I try to substitute like sugars for honey and things of that nature. And yeah.
That's good. Thanks, man. Yeah.
Any advice though, feel free to hit me. Like if you got like if you come out with like a meal plan or you want just some advice on should I be eating this, bro, you can just contact me.
I'm gonna hit you because that's one thing. One of my goals is like finding the fine tuning because I have to be real with myself, right? Because it's easy to say, oh yeah, eat 5-6 times a day, but if I've been eating 2 to 3 times a day and it's increase it, and when I don't hit that goal, it's gonna get discouraging. So that's why I'm realistic with myself and figuring out ways to say, okay, I can add a little bit here, just a little bit more, and then once a week or whatever. Then the next week I'll add a little bit more, and the next week.
Take the time.
Yeah, and just keep gradually growing and building. Because for me, it's just like just staying in the chair more once I put on that weight, because but yeah, we'll talk. I'll definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely
chat about it. Person on the podcast. See Ray Grand goals. See, that's what it's all about. You set goals and you collaborate. And my man Garrison has the expertise when it comes to the fitness because the results show. Regardless of a disability or not a disability, at the end of the day, it's about getting the results. And when someone gets the results, for me, I'm always humble to open up and ask questions. So whether disability or not have a disability, ask the question, learn to earn. That's the thing, learn to earn, because the more you learn, you position yourself to earn, because they always ask you, and I commend Garrison for, he got his degree, because when they ask you on applications, bachelor's degree, high school, I'll be like, yo, how come they ask this question? And a lot of the times, statistically, not my opinion, they notice people with college degree earn more. But doesn't mean they have more, because most people got the student loan debt. So
yeah. They just got an opportunity to earn more.
Opportunity to earn more, yeah. Let me reposition that. The opportunity to earn more because of the degree. But doesn't mean if you have a degree, you can't earn more. Because I'm not one of those people who say, oh, you have to go to college. That's not my take at all.
Me either.
I'm not one of those people.
Like, if I knew what I wanted to become in life, like if I knew this what I would be doing now, I probably wouldn't have went to college. I probably would have focused only on, but I think I needed college as to be a part of my story. Anyway, because there's people that do ask me how it is to get around school in a chair, and then it's things I've seen in schools where it wasn't totally accessible, which gives me that platform now to speak about, where I tell like, schools need to do a lot of renovating, especially these city universities in New York City, because of the fact that individuals have difficulty. It's funny because there's a school, Mega Evans. I actually was taking a class there recently just to further, just enhance my knowledge on like marketing. I was taking a marketing class, but the restrooms, I could barely fit in it, and I have a pretty small manual wheelchair. So the first thing that came to my mind is, how do an individual with an electric chair gets in this restroom? Like, what do they do? So that brought, once I started seeing that, I had to bring that to somebody's attention. Like, so I took it to like one of the deans of the school, and I'm like, it's not accessible, like at all. The door, and I can barely close the door. Anybody with the chair a centimeter bigger, I know can't close the door. But that's because I have experience though, like, and that's something else. So, I mean, I'm an advocate for totally for, I don't tell anybody that they need to go to school. If they have a passion or know their craft or know what they want to do, go for that, because that's going to make you way more than you will ever make in school. Exactly. And you will just be wasting your time in school. Yeah.
And the way I would say it is, or do my best to say it is, have a passion to learn, not necessarily go to school and take out loans.
Exactly.
Something that you're not going to necessarily use. But once you understand what you want to do, you're going to have to get your education. But you don't have to get your education in school.
Exactly. And if I would have knew what I would have done now, I would have went to school for a semester, took out a loan, and started a business.
Yeah.
Instant.
Yeah. that would have been leveraging the system really well, because at the end of
Exactly.
the day, it's the student loan debt. That's a whole nother conversation. Um,
Yeah,
but I did do a podcast on that, because as someone with a disability can get their loans forgiven as long as they're not working. But you can listen to that podcast and get all
definitely.
the information there, and the website and everything. Um, yeah, man. So yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Garrison. As always, I'm definitely gonna hit you up for the
Yeah,
milk
definitely, bro.
and connect with you. Um, Let me think. Is there anything that you want to tell the people that you're doing? I mean, you're doing a lot. However, I know the COVID got everybody quarantined, hanging out and staying busy. I know for me, I'm on my. I finished 3 books. I'm
Okay.
reading 4 books currently. So I interchange. I do audio books and I read, so I do both. So I finished like 3 books, and I'm currently reading like three to 4 books as well, at the same time. So is there anything that you're doing besides like working out, keeping yourself sharp to inspire um, anybody? I mean, you inspire people just by
Yeah.
doing yeah.
Well, right now I'm doing a lot of back end work for my organization, so that way once outside open, I can just hit the doors running. As far as like networking and meeting up with the right individuals to secure certain funding, so I could have programs. I'm working on with the Gym Core Superior Fitness Lab of having an adaptive workout here in New York City every Saturday. Individuals that have various disabilities can come out, and I'll be hosting a fitness class for them, as well as, so that's one of the things I'm looking forward to. Also, I connected with another individual where we're in the works right now trying to plan adaptive gaming at least for once a month, because for the individuals that have difficulties, working out and doing fitness stuff, I know adaptive gaming is a growing culture, and we will have adaptive gaming tournaments that we'll be hosting. So everybody can stay tuned for that. Um, the best thing to do is just to stay up to date with me is to follow me on Instagram, Garrison Redd, Facebook, Garrison Redd, LinkedIn, Garrison Redd, and visit the GarrisonReddProject.org. Also YouTube, Garrison Redd. Right now I've been doing like tutorials of just different things that individuals might be curious about when it comes to wheelchair users. So I recently showcased how I drive and then how I get out the car, go like food shopping and things of that nature. So yeah, and that's on YouTube. Also, I put adaptive fitness workouts on YouTube as well for anybody to check out. And I just, I'm open to feedback. So if something is difficult, or if you feel I need to incorporate something else into my YouTube videos to just give you better knowledge, feel free to ask me and, just inquire. I'm very easy to get in contact with, so it's not too hard. And yeah, so that's pretty much.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So as far as the Garrison Project, if somebody wants to donate to what you're doing, how would they go about doing that?
You could go right on the page and there's a donate tab, and when you click on the donate tab, it will tell you, where the money's going and everything of that nature. And yeah, they can make a generous gift, and also, depending on the gift amount, I also give out free merchandise, such as like a T-shirt to make, because you're a part of something. Once you donate, you're a part of my mission and my vision of seeing this world as being more inclusive. So I like to try to give something yeah. So I was saying like, yeah, when you donate, also when you donate, I try to give each individual some type of gift as a form of showing gratitude, because once you donate to the Garrison Redd Project, you're a part of a family, and you're a part of growing this world that I envision of being more inclusive for everybody to live in. So, and that's the whole key I want to give. At the end of the day, I'm trying to provide opportunities for other individuals that are disabled to live a more independent life. So that's where your donation will be going. It will definitely be going directly to helping that young kid get to school. Maybe he needs a titanium wheelchair just to get to school because the standard one is too heavy, or whatever the case might be. But yeah, my goal is to create inclusion overall, and I want to see a lot more individuals outside in the community enjoying their life, because at the end of the day, the house is nowhere. I mean, due to quarantine, we have to be in here, but the house is not where we should be. We should be outside amongst society just like everyone else.
I love it. I love it. There you have it, folks. Garrison Redd. Make sure you check out the Garrison Project, and make sure you check out his YouTube, his social media. Garrison been doing this for years, been putting in that work. And you know me, I do it grand, and I do it grand style. And this man has been doing it. He inspired me, motivated me to keep doing what I do, because at the end of the day, without struggle, there's no progress. I think my man Frederick Douglass said that. And therefore, with the struggle, there's many progress, because we continue to move forward. And like he said, this world should be and will be more inclusive because of people like him and I that continue to do the work and advocate, and of course be ourselves with our personality and the way we live our lives. So I thank you for listening, and until next time, this is the Ray Grant Show, and there you have it. God bless you, folks.
All right.
Thanks for listening. If you like something that you heard, please leave a review. Oh, one more thing.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Love y'all.